It's Do Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this Do Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you yesterday? Yesterday we were shaking the Monday morning blues with the Do Time crew, and we talked about relationship dilemmas. We had the first relationship dilemma, the woman who had a man living with her for 12 whole months, only for him not to do anything. She said, "You don't even help my kids with homework. You have to contribute something." And his thing was, hey, you knew what you were getting into. I have 6 kids. I got 3 baby mamas. And he was vaping. She asked him about his vape. And he said, I like the vape. He took the money, stuck it in his pocket, right in front of her. Oh, and what else did we have? Not just him, but the dog. Oh, excuse me, Coco, to be exact. You know, he's not a dog, or she's not a dog. She's Coco. You know, what did you expect him to contribute when you knew before you even got with him that he had these 6 kids, 3 baby mamas, and all the while you waited an entire year to videotape him and approach him? Why? Why are we putting ourselves through this now? Well, our other relationship dilemma was about 2 friends. Yes, we had a friend who must have fallen on hard times and ended up homeless, and the other friend stepped in and said, "Hey, you can stay with me." And clearly, there were some issues that they needed to discuss that was not made clear, because homegirl, despite the fact that she had been living off her friend, had not been contributing anything, but she said she did put some food in the house at one time. Well, she went on a vacation, not once and not twice. Yeah. And oh boy, was there quite a bit of sass behind that. Oh, are you angry because I get to go on vacation and you don't? Oh, we are really out of control. You throw back up in my face what I can't do and you can? Well, no, I'm not able to do the things that you can when you have no bills and I pay all the bills. And quite a bit of sass. And here's what I said. I said then and I say now, there is no way in the world this is the first time she's shown those chops. No, you just didn't think it was going to be you. Well, unfortunately, it was you. And she told her to start the eviction process because she was going upstairs and she was going to bed. Oh boy, do we get to be bold and brazen when we want to be. Wow. What a relationship dilemma. We really need to make sure that before we get ourselves into any situation. Now, here was a friend, thought she was stepping in, thought she was going to help her girlfriend, and this is what she got. You can't help everybody. Thus, the switch tip: do not be unequally yoked. Some people just believe that that's a man and a woman. No, it's unequally yoked any shape, form, or fashion. If that's not the job for you, and that job has you and is requiring you to do things that you know God would not be happy with, then you are unequally yoked. How am I? No, I can't work in no number spot. I can't work playing lotto. I can't work in a liquor store. I can't work serving alcohol, meaning a bartender. Yo, no, unequally yoked. Your friends, God has charged you. Do not be unequally yoked. Don't throw pearls to the swine. Not just a male and a female, like the first relationship dilemma, when you knew that he had nothing to offer and he was bringing nothing to the table. She said, well, why are you here? He said, because you want me here. Oh, let me tell you something. These comebacks, man, they were something else. Well, were you with us last night for There's More to Be Said? Man, talk about some situations. Last night's theme was parenting 2026. Oh, you're going to have to go back and check those out right here on Facebook Live. Well, it ain't going to be live, but Facebook, Coach for Christian Life, and right here on YouTube, A Closer Walk Christian Media Network. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. And if you can't watch, but you can listen, yeah, it's on our platforms. Yes, our streaming platforms, whether it's Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple iTunes, Apple Podcasts. Anywhere you find a streaming service, you can find us. Yes. So, come on, check it out. Check it out and check it out. Well, today is Let's Talk About It Tuesday, Church Folk Day. And we got some stuff to talk about, my dear. And I can't wait to get this party started. So go ahead and get that healthy breakfast. Go ahead and tell somebody, anybody, everybody, it's due time when Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere. There's a question that says, can you give some relationship advice? Well, that depends. Do you want it personally, or do you want to sit in here and watch what we got going on? And we may have already covered your relationship dilemma. So let's see what happens. Don't go anywhere, because we will be right back.
The Statue of Liberty you see today was originally designed as a black woman holding broken chains, but when America saw the design, they rejected it. They never taught you the version America tried to bury. The statue didn't start as a symbol of immigration. It started as a tribute to the end of slavery. Her creator, Frederick Bartholdi, wanted the statue to honor the end of slavery and black freedom, not immigration. Bartholdi's first drawings showed liberty with African features, strong jawline, fuller lips, and broken chains held high in her hand. Do you know the Statue of
Good morning, and good morning again. Welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph, and it's Let's Talk About It Tuesday, Church Folk Day. Woo! It is Tuesday, the first Tuesday in the month of February, and time is already flying by. Well, you know what we do. First thing we do when we come back is say good morning to everybody who's in the room. Now, the only way I'm going to know you're in the room is if you check in. So So let Pastor Steph know you're in the room so I can give you a hearty good morning. We got a check-in to King Terrence. Good morning, King Terrence. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We had a check-in from our girl, Ketty. Hey, Ketty girl. Thank you for joining us. We got to check in nice and early from Mr. Brian. Hey, Brian. Good morning. Brian says sometimes you got to do what you have to do. I have no idea what that means because I talked about a couple things during the opening and the wrap up from yesterday. So I don't know. I don't know. When people normally say you got to do what you got to do, I don't trust that because everybody's you got to do what you got to do ain't everybody else's you got to do what you got to do. So I don't know. Okay, Brian, glad to have you here. We've got The Real, and I'm going to leave it right there. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And we got to check in from our boy Serge. Good morning. And we cannot go any further without giving our girls a shout out who help us hold it down. And that's Shantice. Hey, Shantice, thank you so much for doing the real thing. And our girl Anika, thank you so much for holding it down for us each and every time we're on. Every morning you hear me say, well, Miss Grace, are you on? If you're on, good morning. And if you're not, good morning anyway. Well, Miss Grace is not doing well, so we need to lift her up in prayer. When one of our family members, are not doing well, I'm going to let you know about it. So yesterday we saw Miss Charlene, so I was all excited. And then I heard from Miss Grace yesterday, and I was like, well, wait a minute, what we doing here? So lifting Miss Grace up, in prayer, praying that she's okay and that she will make a speedy recovery. We got to check in from our girl Vivian. Hey, Viv. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, what we do every Tuesday morning? We got our trivia. And this morning, it's pretty interesting. So yesterday we talked about friendships, and I stumbled across some trivia where people gave reasons why they lost the longest friendship they have ever had. Okay. Well, we have someone says, I went out for dinner with him and a few of his friends. The whole time, the conversation just revolved around their jobs and money. At one point, one of the other guys at the table lamented the fact that a worker had been killed at his factory. Not because of the worker, but because that meant the factory had to close for a while. Well, the consensus at the table was that the worker was an idiot for not following directions on the sign, and his death had inconvenienced the factory owner so much. I looked around the table and everyone there was nodding in agreement. I realized at that point that I had nothing in common with my friend and didn't really want to hang around with him anymore. That was the last time we spoke, and it was a few years ago now. Yes, Viv, we're going to keep Miss Grace up in prayer. All right. Another time someone's lost the longest friendship they've ever had. She told me I couldn't talk about my dad dying of cancer because it affected her mood, and she needed to be upbeat because she works with kids. There were so many other instances like that where she basically and sometimes literally just said, I don't care about what you're going through. I need to take care of myself. Woo! You could say she wanted to be part of the village, but never wanted to be a villager. After that, I stopped talking to her. After she never spoke to me either. So I thought it was a mutual end to the friendship. Big mistake. She absolutely blew up at me literally 3 days after my dad died, when I didn't personally invite her to the funeral, and said I was being selfish for not thinking of her feelings and trauma. She's never lost someone to cancer. Her parents and all grandparents are still alive. I have no idea what trauma she was referring to. But, we got to check in from Miss Grace. Amen. Amen and amen. I don't know if you heard me, Miss Grace, but I did give you a shout out, and we're definitely praying for you, lifting you up before the Lord for a speedy recovery. All right. That's like great news for me this morning. You know, this person here we just got finished talking about, she didn't want to hear about your dad who was suffering with cancer. So why am I going to tell you about when he died? Okay, get over it. Her husband proposed a partner swap swinging with my fiance and me. We shut it down, and months later, he professed his love. It imploded the group. Everyone broke up, and no one talks anymore. I took most of the heat, and the entire thing was terrible. Still in therapy for it 7 years later. Wow. She married a creep who made repeated and unwanted sexual advances towards another mutual friend. This was after she married him, and she defended him. We're talking about people who lost the longest friendship of their life, especially after yesterday when we saw what friends could really be about. All right. She cheated on her husband while we were on vacation together and left me alone in a strange city to go with some man. After 20 years of friendship, I couldn't get past it, let alone look her husband in the face. Wow. Well, he drunkenly called me while he was on vacation and was moaning and groaning about how long I was taking to work on his 100-year-old house. Okay. I don't know for sure what caused her to stop sending Christmas cards or to stop answering my calls and texts, but I know that the timing coincides with when I got divorced. She's a very devout Catholic, so I think she didn't approve of my life choices. Okay. Listen, just tell them to live with the creep, male or female. Bye. She was just really selfish and only thought about herself. She asked me to drive 4 hours to pick her boyfriend up at the airport a day and a half after I had my daughter. She couldn't comprehend why I would say no. Wow. When someone I considered one of my friends, who I'd invited to be a groomsman in my wedding, chose to go on a kayak trip in another state rather than attend my wedding. At first, I just told him his decision hurt me and that I needed some time and space to get over it. He responded by launching into a multi-paragraph long letter about what a bad friend I am, pulling up stuff from when we were in middle school. Stop talking to him after that. Has anyone given up like the longest friendship that they've ever had because folks just don't know how to act? I don't know. I'm seeing some good stuff here, and I'm seeing some, oh well. I got him hired at my job and gave him a management position. He tried getting me fired multiple times because he was stealing thousands of dollars and didn't want me to find out. I found out. Bonus. Almost immediately afterwards, he got kicked out of the living space he had been renting for free for 10 years. How you rent for free? We need to get this vernacular together. You think you know someone? Boy, sometimes you need to open up your eyes. You can't rent for free. Rent means you're paying to be there. She married my ex-boyfriend who admitted he was only using me for sex. Did she know he was using you for sex? Because he might be using her for sex and married her. I don't know. Things like that do happen, you know. We got a check in from our girl Tamika. Hey, Tamika, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Anika is officially checking in. Brian says he sure has given up a long time friendship. Well, listen, if you've given up a long time friendship and you want to kind of clue us in as to what happened, keep it kind of short and sweet. Go ahead, we'll read it. Help us. Well, she invited me to her baby shower. We were literally brainstorming decor and food ideas. Then she ghosted me for a month and her sister wouldn't respond either. Then she texted me like nothing happened, claiming she hadn't paid her phone bill. Then she goes, want to see pictures from the shower? And sends them. When I asked why she never sent an actual invite and basically ghosted me, she just said, oh, it must have gotten lost in the mail. I asked why she didn't check in on me since we'd been talking about the details, but she just deflected and made me feel like I was the one in the wrong. I saw later that someone whom I didn't like and thought she did not like either attended. Wow. He had sex with my girlfriend. I ended 2 relationships in one moment. Crummy, yes, but I felt light and free shortly afterwards. My subconscious was trying to tell me something about both of them for some time. Wow. Sometimes you're going to have to give up. Listen, thus the switch tip. Do not be unequally yoked. You just don't know. Let's see what we got going on in this news. All right. Well, our Pastor Vinny is already hanging out in the wings. Good morning, Pastor Vinny. Glad to see you on. And we don't look like we have Pastor Brenda, so Shantice is going to be stepping in for our third leg this morning. So let's see what this news is talking about. I was not hard pressed for news last night, but I just needed to figure out which news I wanted to talk about. And I think I found some goodies. So come on, let's talk about it. Well, out in Indiana, a girl, 7 years old, was hospitalized. Are you ready for this? After injecting herself with her mother's GLP-1 pin. Now, for those of you who may not know what that is, that's like Ozempic, semaglutide, Mounjaro, Wegovy, RO. Yeah. And you know what? I instantaneously figured out what this kid must have been thinking. And as I kept reading, oh well, I was not wrong. So this 7-year-old girl spent days in the hospital after overdosing on her mom's GLP-1 meds. And they said she laid there lifeless as friends and family went to see her. And she was really, really sick. So, you know what she said? She thought it was her mom's stomach ache medicine. So clearly you were taking this med. You were sticking yourself with this pin in front of your daughter. But why? Unless this was diabetic meds. And because remember, these, GLP-1s, they're not for weight loss. The origin of it is not for weight loss. The origin, it's insulin. And as a byproduct, it helps you lose weight. Now they've made some that strictly help you lose weight. But initially, this is like insulin. So now she's pumping herself up with all of this medicine. She's 7. Now, here's the scary part, which I'm sure her mother must have freaked out. She said she called the poison control center immediately after she figured out that her daughter had taken the medicine. And they said that quick action probably is what saved her daughter's life. And they were concerned that she was going to possibly die, which she very well could have, because she took 60% of what was in the pen. So she had a typical response. Now check this out. People don't realize that when you first start taking that, most times people have said when they first start taking this med that they throw up, there's nausea, there's lightheadedness, bad abdominal pains. And guess what? This is what the little girl experienced. So immediately they got her to the ER. She's hooked up on IV. And for days, she was dehydrated and vomiting. The only thing she wanted was water. So after a few days, they sent her home. She gets home and she's vomiting all over the place, all over again. They have to return her back to the ER. She's admitted again and is laying there pretty much lifeless. People, make sure your meds are put up. And if you take your meds in front of your kids, because kids see you taking medicine, then let them know. Because kids are they don't think the way we like them to think at times. So here you are, you're taking medicine. And like I said, I don't know whether mom was taking it for weight loss, mom was taking it for insulin, as she rightly should have been, because they actually tried to put me on Ozempic. I just can't take it for other reasons. But, it's because I'm a diabetic and I can't, this diabetes won't work right. But it's uncontrollable. And, that's what they give you. So if you are taking your medicine in front of your children, then let them know what you're taking your medicine for. But all she sees you is sticking pins in your stomach. She literally thought that mom was taking the pin for stomach aches, and she had one. So she took the pin. Oh my God. All righty. What else are we talking about? All righty. Now, hold on to your seats for this one. Hold on. Let me see if I want to give the other one before I do that one, because I think I do. That one is you got to stomach that one. All righty. So, for those of us who are looking forward to looking at the Super Bowl, I believe that's this weekend. I don't know. It's good we don't plan on being there personally, because you will have the football players there. You will have all of the agents and the coaches and the owners and all the stars, and you'll have ICE agents there as well. Here's my thing. They are bragging about how they're going to be there, and they're going to be doing things the right way. If you are an illegal immigrant, you shouldn't be there. And if you are, then don't be surprised if you are, snatched up, blah, 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 blah. This is the first year. And they say they've always been there. Now, if you've always been there, why we got to hear about it this year? Why can't you just be there and do your job? Why does this have to be such a big announcement? Now, we talked about the FIFA, big fight for, that's the soccer tournament, that people are not supporting United States, because they bounce around. We talked about that. And now a lot of people are not coming. They had to return like 16,000 tickets because the people weren't coming out because of ICE. So now they're saying, well, listen, ICE is going to be a factor at this year's Super Bowl. So if you are not legal, get yourself together and stay home. Because if you come out, they're going to find you. They are so sickening. And clearly, they just want to be a bully. Because like I said, if you claim in this article, so, we've been there all along, blah, blah, then so what? Nobody else knew you were there. If you were there, you were there. You were snatching up people, you were snatching up people. No. See, it was probably too quick from 2025 when Trump went into office to kind of get them to the Super Bowl Sunday last year. Well, they are armed and ready this year. So, like I said, it's good that we plan on looking at it from the TV. I'm not illegal anyway, and it's bad that, listen, if that's your job, then do your job. Nobody's mad at you for doing your job. It's how you're doing your job. You are just big Gestapos and bullies and threats. It's horrible. It's horrible that you have to do your job like that. And this is why you're hated so much. And they don't care. They don't care. But I love that video we showed last week of New York City police officers just taking them down, arresting them. And too bad that, this can't be done differently. They say that they are going to cooperate with ICE and DHS, Department of Homeland Security. I got it right. And, they're going to do what they have to do to make sure that, they are going to comply. Yeah, because you don't want your whole Super Bowl shut down. So now you're going to have chaos outside in the parking lot, because if you don't have a ticket, you don't get in to the Super Bowl. So you can't get into the stadium. They're not mandated to let you in the stadium, but you ain't got no problem causing havoc in the parking lot. So what a creep. Not a creep, but a bunch of creeps. Let me see what else we can talk about before I do this last story. We got a check-in from Miss Herlima. Hey, Miss Herlima, thank you so much for joining us. All right. Oh, okay. I did save the best for last, so let me go back. All right. So, oh Lord, out in Atlanta, you have the police who's searching for a man who they showed on their surveillance tape walking two dogs. And I'm trying to see what type of dogs they were, because they weren't little dogs. When they showed the picture, they say he was walking two mixed breed dogs into the parking deck at around 2:30 p.m. on July 25th, 2025. Now, they say, I don't know how, I just reread it and reread it and reread it. They have that this man is being sought after because he raped the dogs. Now, I was trying to find why and how they knew this. They described the dogs because they have the surveillance tape. I checked it out and I did see a valid like a wanted poster. Yeah. They don't have a whole lot of information. They say that he's black, about average height, between 5 to 6 inches, and 5 feet 6 to 5 feet 9. He has tattoo sleeves on both arms, gray facial hair, including a goatee. His age is unknown, and they are looking to charge him with animal cruelty. Now, this is pretty gross, and I get so tired of the killings. There are times that I'll open up the news and I'll see number of people killing one another. And I'm like, oh Lord, this is all I got to talk about. I have several sources of where I get news from. I have viewers who send me information and stuff. And, everything is not interesting for me to talk about. I don't want to talk about certain things. But you know what? You have to talk about these things, and I try to spread them out, because if you don't think that this world needs Jesus, if you don't think the Bible is, I said this last night, if you don't think the Bible is coming true, then you better think again. You better think again. If you want to, if you're so grossed out by the news and you tired of hearing about the killings and the this and the that, then you know what? Then you need to get to praying, and you need to make sure you're in the nearest church so that you can help join forces with those who are like-minded, so that you can all band together and help this world, not just this country, this world, because these people are really sick. They are losing it. And I was like, no. The Spirit of the Lord said, yes, this is news. Give them something to pray about. The Word of God says that if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves, do what you're supposed to be doing, correct your evil ways, then I will hear from you and I will heal the land. I'm coming back to that for our church folk topic. I'm just going to stop right there. Now, here's my wild story of the week. I'm stealing Vivian's wild story spot a day early, because I just got one question, and I'm going to ask this question after I finish talking about this story. Oh, it's so funny, because I got this story from a couple of people yesterday, just in conversation. We were talking yesterday. So you have this man, Samuel Calderon. Now, some of you who watch the news, especially here in New York, I'm sure you heard this story. I didn't hear the story because I don't listen to the news. I don't watch the news. The only time I go into the news is to get stories for the broadcast. Other than that, I hate the news. Well, here we go. So Samuel Calderon is facing murder charges for what they're calling a Saturday inferno in the Boston Sea courthouses in the Baychester part of the Bronx. Now, I'm from the Bronx. Boston Sea courthouses, I could walk there maybe in about 15 minutes. Yeah. So, if nature takes its normal course, I used to go to school with a lot of the kids who live in those houses. And a lot of them are probably still living there, because if I go back to my own housing development, a lot of them, despite the fact that a lot of us have moved out, a lot of us are still there. So I was hoping I did not see any name I knew. Well, Samuel Calderon, I don't know. Well, guess why he's being charged with murder? And let me see what else he's being charged with, because he's being charged with several things. He's being charged with murder, burglary, manslaughter, petty larceny, and criminal contempt for violating the order of protection that was against him. So why is Samuel being charged with these things? They are working on this housing development. Now, I don't know how many of you know this, how many of you even care, but they are taking some of these housing developments and they are now upgrading them. They have sold them. They do not belong to NYCHA anymore. They now belong to private businesses. And they are changing the stoves. They're upgrading and modernizing their kitchens. Well, Samuel, when his baby mama, which he calls her, when his ex-girlfriend left the apartment yesterday, or whatever, Saturday, he decided he wanted to go in there, into the apartment. He broke into the apartment, or however he got into the apartment, and he wanted to steal the stove that they had just put in. Now, the stove was not disconnected. The stove was connected. And he wanted to steal a stove. So what he did was, when he took the stove, he disconnected the live gas pipe. Are you ready? And when he heard the hissing sound of the gas escaping, he took a blanket, he wrapped it around the pipe, and he left. He was dragging this stove out the building, and someone smelled the gas, and they called 911. So when 911 showed up, Terrence is saying, wait, steal a stove? Nah, I've heard it all now. That's why I said I'm stealing Vivian's wild story of the week. That's a day early. So he's dragging the stove out. 911 shows up. He runs out. He leaves the stove. And they hear the gas line, and they thought that it was a shoddy job that was done by the people who were installing the stoves. And while 911 was there, while the fire department was there was a major explosion upstairs. I believe it was between the 15th and the 17th floor. Now, when the explosion happened, the roof, or the ceiling rather, from one floor fell on the apartment below, and it killed a man. There were several people who were injured and had to be rushed to the hospital. Now, it's bad enough. You were violating a protective order. That's why they're getting him for that. He was violating a protective order. Now, check this out. The girlfriend wasn't in the apartment because she was in a shelter, a domestic violence shelter with her kid, trying to stay away from him. He somehow managed to get into the apartment, disconnect the stove, take the stove out the apartment. But here's the kicker, as Kenny would say. Here's the kicker. He stole it so he could buy a gram of crack. Do you know how old Samuel Calderon is? Why are you 55 still smoking crack? I'm sorry. If I do the math on 55, that means you were born somewhere in the 70s. Yeah. Because if you were born in 75, you're 50 this year. So that means you had to be born somewhere around 71. Why are you smoking crack Who's still making crack? Yo, y'all haven't advanced past crack yet? There's no new drug. Now, I'm not saying that there should be, but we are who's still selling crack? Oh my God. I could not believe it. I could not believe it. I said, Vivian gonna be mad because she ain't got no. I beat this one, girl. Beat this one right here. You killed people. You were so desperate to buy a gram of crack, and that's all the stove was gonna get you. Now, I don't know what a gram looks like, but that's something to go through, something to do to get a gram of crack. I have heard it all. I'm so sick and tired of these people that God made. I just can't. I can't. Yes, Terrence, the stove, you've heard it all. Tamika says these stories, wait. What day is it? You cannot make these stories up. Terrence says, what do I say all the time on this show? Say no to drugs. Wow. So he's a strong crackhead. Yeah. Look at the picture. They said the flames were all out the window. They said people were okay. So here's the thing. Here's the good thing about living in the projects. It's not like a regular tenement building. They have made these buildings, they are fireproof, so they do not spread like that. It's contained. The walls are fireproof. They cannot move like other buildings. But what good does it do when there's an explosion? They said people were literally, there was one man with his legs hanging out the window because he couldn't breathe. He couldn't breathe. Now think about it. You hanging out the window from the 13th floor up. Now I used to live on the 13th floor. I grew up on the 13th floor. That's pretty high. Just for those of you who ain't never lived in a high rise, that's pretty high. 13. I spent most of my life living in, well, not most of my life because I'm been here 31 years, but the majority of my life, a lot of my life. That's scary. They said people were hanging out the windows. They were yelling. They were screaming, help me, help me. Also that you can get high. Oh, Lord. Well, Brian says, yep, there's plenty of them everywhere, Brian. You know what? This is new to me because I'm going to tell you something. They have all kinds of different drugs that we have talked about here on this due time. Ain't nowhere in the world I thought no crack was that bad these days. Where is my Pastor Vinny? That's all I want to know. Hey, Pastor Vinny, good morning.
Good morning, Pastor Steph.
I'm so worn out, Pastor Vinny. I could go to bed right now. Pastor Vinny, how are you?
I'm well. I am well. These news breaks that woke me up.
It woke you up and it put me to bed. I could get underneath the covers right now.
Thank you, Vivian.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you, Vivian.
Pastor Vinny.
Woo.
No, we're waiting for Vivian to come on tomorrow. We're waiting for her to come on tomorrow so we can see if she could top this story. So Vinny, Pastor Vinny, let's talk about this story of the 7-year-old who took her mother's GLP-1 med by accident because she thought it was from her mother's stomach ache.
I tell you, it's like you said, it's so important, you know, when you have little children around, and they're inquisitive. They want to see what mommy's doing, what daddy's doing, and they don't have no knowledge of what goes on behind taking medicine. And so it is important.
Absolutely.
It is important for us to be careful. Funny, not funny story. Pastor Brenda and I, we were diagnosed with pre-diabetes about 6 years ago, and the doctor they tried to put us on Ozempic. Now, normally they start you with a low dose, and the low dose was okay, but as soon as they increased that dosage, we started having bad reactions. We're in the house throwing up like 2 days.
Wow.
2 days after the shot, and it wasn't until I said, "Baby, I had such a bad stomach ache yesterday." She said, "You too?" I said, "What you mean?" She said, "Me too." I was like,
wow.
We called the doctor immediately and said, "Look, this is not for us." This is not for us. And the funny thing is, they take it away, and they don't put anything else in its place. So it means that we really didn't need that.
Wow.
That's what scares me.
Wow.
They're just testing everybody. But unless you understand your body and understand what's going on, you'll just be taking it. Oh, I lost 3 ounces. Yay.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, a lot of this, and like I said, some people, it has been excellent for their insulin. Mm-hmm. It has, their diabetes.
Right.
But the side effect, but they even say metformin can rip your stomach up, and that's not even a GLP-1, but it's that type of medication that can possibly take you through, some real side effects. So now you have this child who's taking your med, and she's going to experience the same thing, unfortunately. And think about it. It's not made for children. So no. I can't even imagine, Pastor Vinny, if adults, like you said, you and Pastor Brenda and other people have, described what you went through as a side effect. Can you imagine her little body going through that? Oh my God. Oh my God.
Terrible.
Oh my God. Scary.
Yes.
Scary and scary. Pastor Vinny. All righty. Let me ask you something. What do you think of this ICE showing up at the Super Bowl, kind of threatening and scaring everybody?
It's just another line in this mean administration. It's just pure meanness. Meanness, because people understand that they're picking up people who are legal citizens.
Right.
They're picking up people who have, who have been here for years. They have proper documentation.
Right.
But if you look a certain way, they want to interview with you. It's just meanness. It is just.
Absolutely.
And it's sickening. It's sickening.
Absolutely.
That's why people are weaponizing themselves. Well, if you want to take me down, you're gonna have to take. You're gonna take some of these bullets.
Absolutely, because people are tired.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you did what you needed to do in a civil way, in a respectful way, but they have turned this into such a nasty process. I you, Pastor Vinny. Let's see what Shantice's got to say about this stuff. Oh, I don't even want to know what she got to say about this. Good
morning.
Story. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm well, thank you. I'm well. What about the 7-year-old taking mom's GLP-1 med?
mean, if you're going to take your medicine in front of your child, then you have to make sure you inform them that this is not for you. Because whether they take it because they feel like they need it or whether they want to play around, you have to let them know, like, you don't touch this. Don't, like, what happened to parents who did that? Mm-hmm. That always happened when I grew up. No matter what, it was like, whether my mother was cooking something or, you know, she never like had to take medicine, but cooking something or anything, like if it even like don't touch this. You don't touch that, or go ahead and touch it. That's what our parents on this side of the fence say. Go ahead and touch it. That you knew from that not to touch it, because that meant it was gonna hurt, burn, or they were gonna hurt you if you touched it. So you just didn't touch it. But it's like these parents are just so like, I don't know where their minds are. It's like everyone's in la la land. I don't know. So unfortunately, now this baby was, you know, she experimented and wow.
I can't even imagine what her little body was going through. That's all I keep thinking. Yeah. What did her little, they said she was laying there like pretty much lifeless. I guess so. Because, you know, let me tell you something. Shantice can tell you how I look when I eat eggs. Oh my gosh. Shantice can tell you the way I look when I eat eggs. When I tell you I am near to death, I look bad. I can't even imagine what this baby's body was going through. And the reason why I equate it to that experience of me eating eggs, because I'm throwing up, I'm running to the bathroom, I got the worst stomach pains in the world, and it's like I'm like laying over. You don't walk past me and say, "Oh, hey, Miss Steph." Nah, it's like, "You all right?" Yeah, I look like it. Yeah, I feel like death. I feel like it's the worst feeling, and I just think about what she was laying there feeling after vomiting, and they said all she wanted to do was just drink. Well, yeah, because now you're dehydrated because you're constantly throwing up.
Yeah.
And think about it. Here's the thing why I equate it to when I eat eggs, because you throw up so much that there's nothing else left. And I don't know how many of you have ever thrown up on an empty stomach. Oh, that is the worst feeling. So imagine her constantly throwing up. They actually discharge her. Discharge her. Yeah, and mom said when she got home, she was throwing up so profusely, they had to take her back to the emergency room, and they ended up keeping her. So this is really something that you really, parents, please. We got Pastor KL here. He's joining us. Let's see what he's got to say. Hey, Pastor KL.
Hey guys, how you guys are doing?
What drug did you take this morning?
That's how you said. You said, "Hey, Pastor Cal." So, your energy.
Okay. Good morning, sir.
Oh my goodness, Pastor Cal, we're talking about the 7-year-old who got a hold to her mother's GLP-1 med and thought that she was taking medication to help her stomach ache, because that's what she thought her mother was taking.
Wow. That's the one that was throwing up effusively?
Yes. And they said she looked lifeless when she was laying in the bed.
I mean, shouldn't the mother be charged for carelessness or something?
Yeah, well, if she was on this side of the fence, she sure would be.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
How about that?
DCF.
That's great.
Okay. Yeah, they've been knocking on your door. You wouldn't been saying no oops to them.
Right.
That's for sure. Oh my goodness gracious. All right, we got a check-in from Adele. Hey Adele, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Brian says, "Hey Pastor." You got it first, Pastor KL.
I was about to say, which pastor he saying hello to?
He wanted to say hello to you because I've been on for a long time. He ain't said hello to me, but he wanted to say hello to you before he said hello to, hey, Shantice.
Like I said, he likes the back and forth. Brian been on. Now you saying hi.
Right. And let me tell you something. Brian checked it nice and early this morning. He must have gotten up and got himself up early and ready early. He's been on for this whole broadcast. And now he's just... When you arrive, Pastor KL, we got to check in from Miss Charlene. Hey, Miss Charlene. Glad to see you on with us this morning. All right, Shanti, we're talking about ICE showing up at the Super Bowl, intimidating the attendees. They can't get inside of the stadium because you can only get inside if you have a ticket, and they surely don't have a ticket, but they can get to that parking lot, and they plan to wreak a whole lot of havoc. What say you?
How are you intimidating people with limited access? Like what? Like what? So don't get caught in the parking lot because I'm gonna get you. But if you make your way inside, then you're good. It's like, shut up. Yo, Trump just made a bunch of little Trump minions. That's exactly what this is. This was the closest thing he could get to cloning himself, so that he can wreak havoc in multiple places at one time. And these dumbos fell for it. And they are now part of the Trump cult.
Private army.
And this is what they're doing. Because I agree. If this is something you've been doing, why does it have to be known? Do what you need to do and shut up.
Right.
Because again, you're limited. And this is why you got to keep your eyes open to God, because all this intimidation and everything, when you realize that everyone has a higher up, when you realize, like the video like we saw last week that Pastor Steph referenced, when it came to the NYPD shutting down these ICE agents, because they're just people who went somewhere and bought a black vest that said ICE, or was given a vest that says ICE. Anybody could do that. At one point, it was a trend to walk around here in the streets with a bulletproof vest. That was a fashion statement. Wow. So now the fashion statement is walking around with a vest that says ICE. So soon, the kids will be doing it too. So they will have junior ICE agents, I guess. But when you realize that everyone has a higher up and what you're doing is so minute, ain't nobody paying you no mind. That's why they got to keep announcing themselves, because now they realize that they're losing clout, they're losing leverage, they're losing. Well, oh my gosh, the people we're supposed to be getting at, they're not afraid of us anymore because y'all are dumb. Look how you moving. You're moving like him. No one takes him serious. So how long did you think we were going to take y'all serious? Jumping in the back of cars, claiming people kidnapped y'all. All of this to get attention. There's all of this to get attention. No, just be quiet. Just be like the other people who can't afford to go to the Super Bowl and stand outside and listen to what's going on. Get your grill and grill your burgers and your hot dogs, drink your beer, and be quiet.
All righty. We got a check-in, and I don't know. I'm going to say it like this. Rock. All right. If there's another name you'd like for me to call you, because I don't know how, I don't want to mutilate your name, but thank you so much for joining us this morning. Blessings to you too. Terrence says, it just might be 8 people in the stands since ICE is showing up. Well, here's I want to respond to that. So if this were the baseball game, if this was the soccer game, then I might agree with you. But considering that this is the Super Bowl, it might be a little more than 8 people. Like I said, if it were the baseball game, the baseball stadium, yeah, it might be pretty sparse. If it was the soccer stadium, it would be pretty sparse. But Nah, I think it'll be 5 more people, Terrence. 5 more people than those few. All righty, all right. Let's talk about this last story now, Pastor KL. You know Boston Secor houses.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's the location of our last story, our wow story of the week. So you have Samuel Calderon. Oh, Brian says true. You have Samuel Calderon, who has an order of protection against him for his baby's mama. And he goes into her apartment because they have just installed brand new stoves in these apartments. He goes in there. It does not distract him or deter him that the stove is hooked up to the gas line. He detaches the gas line. He hears the hissing. He wraps the hissing pipe with a blanket. And lo and behold, he gets there. The stove is so heavy, he has to like literally leave it. I mean, come on. So they call 911 because they hear this hissing. They thought it was a shoddy job that was done by the people who installed the stoves, only to find out that it was Samuel Calderon who went in there and detached the stove, left the stove there in the lobby somewhere. And they find out that he went in there to steal the stove in order to buy a gram of crack. They said it was so bad, it looked like that in the picture. People were hanging out the windows, yelling. Now, this took place on the higher floor, in between 15 and 17. It's a 17-story building, and the explosion took place in between those floors, somewhere in those floors. And there was a man who was at home at the time, and the ceiling from above him fell on him and it killed him. They sent several people. They took several people to the emergency room to be treated. And I just want to know who's using crack, who's making crack, and who's selling crack in 2026. Oh, Pastor Vinny, help me, please. Please help me. Please help me. Please help me.
How much you want? Oh gosh.
Crack ain't doing nothing for Stephanie.
Or Pastor Vinny. It just gets more ludicrous. You know, I mean, are the cravings that, or is this guy just a fool? When does the drug effect stop and the lunacy of his character kick in? Or it's just a crisscross of these things happening, you know, taking you to a perfect storm. No wonder the young lady has the order of protection against him. You know, but it's. I mean, there are no words.
Yeah, pretty much.
No words. You know, I heard about the explosion, but I never got the backstory.
Well, here you are.
So, exactly. I heard the story, but I never, you know, about the explosion. You know, but I never got the backstory about it. But it still doesn't make it any better. It makes it worse.
Right. When you hear the details, yeah. I agree with you, Pastor Vinny. I agree with you 100%.
Innocent people
right.
lost life behind this foolishness.
Right. Oh, Shantice. So Terrence, it clicked with Terrence that he never got the crack. Yeah, he left. When I told you the story the first go around, I told you he left. He ran. He ran because he couldn't do nothing else with the stove. So he ended up leaving the stove. So you did all of this. You about to go to jail. What are they charging him with? Hold on, let me read the charge. Let me read the charges.
Arson.
No, they didn't say arson. Hold on. I wanted to make sure I read it properly. And I'm mad because I can't find the piece right here. But okay. Murder, burglary, manslaughter, petty larceny, criminal contempt for violating the order of protection, and they'll probably add on 100 more things. His last name is Calderon. Is anybody listening? His last name is Calderon. Oh, they're going to load it up. No, Victimone would get off easy. We're talking about Samuel Calderon. Thank you, Terrence. Just say life. You done, my brother. Shantice, what we talking about here? He didn't even get the crack. He didn't even get a chance to get high. Going to jail.
But my question always is, there's no expiration on these things, on these activities. Like, you don't expire out being a drug addict. You know, and I'm not trying to make fun of people who are on drugs, right? This is a real, like, life analyzing question. So at what point, when you say happy birthday, or maybe you're so high you don't realize it's your birthday, but at what point do you realize you're a certain age and you like, I'm still doing this? I'm still, you ain't got none of these no more, or you barely got these. Like, it's like, at what point? It's like, because 50 is too young for you to be like missing a lot of teeth. That's really concerning for me, which is why I could never be no drug addict. Because once I realized it messed with your looks, you ain't got no, don't go no further. You just kill me straight out. Ain't gotta be no slow death, okay? But this is what happens when you don't. Drugs is in that category of not having a sober mind. You don't think. So there was no plan. You put a blanket over gas. Was that supposed to calm the gas? Like, what was that supposed to do? And you couldn't steal nothing else. So she had nothing else in there brand new, or nothing else of value to you. Where are you walking around with this stove? So my question is, who's buying a stove from someone walking around with it?
That's what I said.
You were gonna put it on a dolly because you can't pick it up to put it in the shopping cart.
That's what I said.
So where, or was it gonna be a coming attraction? You were gonna leave it somewhere and get people to come to you and the stove? Like, what was the plan? How is that gonna work? And then what form of payment will you accept it? Because no one really carries cash. So I doubt you have Zelle, sir. I doubt you have Zelle, Cash App, Venmo, any of that. Because even people who are not drug addicts don't have these things. Okay, so now that you're a drug addict who goes and steals stove off the 13th floor, you don't have any of that. So what kind of transaction did you think you were going to get? Or did you think you were going to take the stove to the trap house? Maybe the trap house needed a new stove. Maybe that's what it was. So you were going to take it there, and in exchange for the new appliance, they were going to give you the drugs. I don't, again, something else to deter me from making sure I just say no. Because it's hard to come up with a plan when you're not drugging and drinking. Now, when you have these intoxicants in your body and clouding your mind, it really shows how there is just no plan. That's horrible. And now people have died and trauma and all of that. It would have been bad enough if it was a private.
They're homeless. They're homeless.
So now they don't have a stove because you wanted to steal stove to get the drugs that you didn't get. So now nobody has a stove.
But
probably had a buyer.
You
He probably initially had a buyer. You know, he had a relationship with this young lady in his apartment, right?
Oh my Lord.
So he knew he could get in that apartment, you know, take out the new stove and you know, throw it down 13 stories and catch it on the ground floor. So,
Lord have mercy.
What's a
Pastor KL. You know Boston Secor. You were about 15 minutes walking distance from it too.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm like Shantice. I'm trying to figure out how you. Hey, I got that stove. Hey, I got that gas stove. You know what I mean? Yeah. What was it? You know, you ever watch Good Times and you see Lenny and he opened up his coat and he got pants and all. I'm just trying to figure out how Lenny was gonna pass off the stove. It just how you were gonna get it out the house. So you detached it and everything. How you gonna get it out the house? And then who was not gonna see Lenny with the stove in the elevator?
Right.
You know what I mean? How you get it out the business?
Yes.
What was the plan? You know, I heard Pastor Vinny was talking about character. Once you're on drugs, you have no character. You know, you don't think about the benefits of anybody else, the well-being of anybody else. You just want to fulfill the need that you have at that moment. There is no character. I mean, I just...
Oh, logic.
Yeah, they're just poor planning. There was no way. You know, you was better off taking out the microwave. Or you was better off taking out the air fryer. You know what I mean? How was you getting out a whole stove with chicken in it? There's probably some chicken in it. So you stop the chicken from being made, and you're trying to take the whole stove. Wait, get a gas stove at that. You definitely not right. You're not right.
A gas stove that was connected.
Right.
It's not like they just put the appliance in the house and they left it disconnected. You actually went there and snatched out the pipe. Good Lord. When you talk about this is your drug, this is your brain on drugs, this is the epitome of what this means. Because when I read this story, I was like, you can't be serious. My thing was, why a stove? I understand it was brand new. And by her not being there, because she's in the domestic homeless shelter, she didn't use it. But why was this the plan? Like Shanti said, she had no fur coat, no, Louis Vuitton pocketbook. She ain't got nothing in no boots, no nothing that you could have, it was, carry around and it's inconspicuous. No, a whole stove that even if you managed to get it out the apartment, somebody wouldn't have called on you. Nah, because let me tell you something. Remember now, she's got an order of protection. Somebody has seen him before, and that's how they spotted him. Because check this out. He went back to the building. He went back to the building. And when they picked him up, they showed him the surveillance. And he said, oh, yeah, that's me. That's the same coat I have on now.
What did he go back for the now?
Why would you go back?
You went back for the knobs.
But you knew when you got back there, you had seen the explosion because this explosion happened within a matter of time from the time you left there. So you weren't supposed to be on the premises in the first place. There was an order of protection against you, the premises. You weren't supposed to be there. You weren't supposed to be there, but you went back, and when they showed you, you said, oh yeah, that's me. That's the same coat I got on right now. Oh Lord. So you got a nice home cooked meal 3 times a day. These people are now homeless. These people have now feared for their life. They're hanging out the window, yelling, "Help me, help me." The man is sitting on the windowsill above the 13th floor with his legs hanging out the window. That Shanti, show that picture again. This fiery building. This is what it looked like.
Lord.
And you went back to say or do what? Let me get these comments. Terry
You had to
says,
make sure there was nothing wrong with the stove.
Go back for the dogs.
oh my goodness. Terry says crack, there's superpower, so no age limit on it. And sometimes the crack keeps them living. It's crazy. So to answer your question, nope, it's no limit, Shanti's. He says, yes, he can sell it to a store and he can live it up. He's a crackhead. Out of control, Adele says. Terrence says he got it to the lobby, so crack makes a way. Oh, good Lord. Can you imagine? He knew he didn't have any tools. He did all of that with his hands. Don't do drugs, people. Ciao. Oh, my
really
goodness
scary.
gracious. It is. This is a scary. This is where we got to the scary point of life, and this is why this can be you. I'm sure at one point, a lot of these people they were normal people. They were you and I at one point, and they decided to use drugs for whatever the reason is. Some people used it, because they were down and out and somebody offered it to them. Somebody was giving it mistaken. They didn't know that they were smoking it or giving it. Some people, they were just like, hey, I'll try it. We don't know. But at one point, these people were regular people. And this is that part about it.
Pastor Steph, you know what? You are absolutely right. Let me tell you something. So everybody know I've been in a car accident and I've been taking pain pills. So yesterday I said, nah, the devil ain't gonna have me hooked on these pain pills. So yesterday I decided not to take the pain pill at all. When I tell you, I thought I was dead, sleeping in my grave yesterday in so much pain. I got up this morning. I got up this morning, popped that pain pill like it was a Skittle. I said, I am not going through this pain again. We got to pray about this later, but I ain't going through another day like this.
Yeah. It's serious. It's very serious. And as a person who has been in many a surgery, so certain surgeries you come out of with a pain pump. And for those of you who don't know what a pain pump is, there's a little handle, you have a nozzle, and what'd you say, Pastor Vinny?
Morphine pump.
Yes, and whenever you feel the pain, you hit the button. It's controlled, because what they do is they only administer a certain amount of meds each pump, and you can't press it, but it's timed. So you're accustomed to getting rid of that pain, once you come out, and they monitor your usage. So like Pastor KL said, I'm there and I'm pumping. And after a while, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to bear this pain, because I'm not going to, they have, and the reason why I'm telling you the process is because it's controlled. But afterwards, when they see that you're not pumping as much, they still give you morphine. So they either give you fentanyl in this pump or morphine, and they can give you something much, much, much potent. And I've had that, and that ain't no joke. And when they see that you don't need it at that point, they take you off of that and they give you morphine into your IV. And you literally feel the morphine. And I say, how do people enjoy this feeling? It's like you're like, oh, it really. But like Pastor Gail said, When you're in pain, and I know, Pastor Vinny, you've been in, some medical procedures. When you're in pain, child. Now, I happen to have a very high tolerance for pain, so I just endure it. But I feel for people when it's that bad that you just got to take it. But do you realize that a lot of athletes and a lot of people have become addicted to pain meds, and because of the way it makes you feel? And I'm telling you how it makes you feel. And it's a scary, scary, scary situation, because you now look at the crackhead who has enjoyed the feeling so much that they just keep going. Pastor KL said, hey, I endured that pain last night. Couldn't endure it this morning, but I endured it last night. Pastor Vinny has had to say that himself. I've had to say that myself. Those of you who have ever been in any type of medical procedure or surgery or any kind of accident or whatever, you have to endure that pain. But after a while, you just realize, hey, I'm not doing this anymore, because you realize that this is how people get addicted. And this is this here to see somebody so desperate. You have now caused a major catastrophe. You have caused fatalities. This is horrible. This is horrible. So you know what? If this is a caution to you, if this is a caution to whoever you are who's viewing or listening, now or later, endure the pain as much as you can. Because again, these people have not all come from, I just want to use crack. Trust me.
Right. Right.
It has gone from pain meds to now harder drugs. And
because
this
they can't
here,
get those pain meds anymore.
That's right. Not only could they not get the pain meds, but let me tell you something. It comes to a point where those pain meds don't give you the high that you once had at a point, and now you're looking to get that high. And now you're looking for something stronger. So that's why I said, these stories might be crazy, and someone might be saying, or some people might be saying, what kind of Christian show talks about this stuff? You know why? Because God has got us talking about the reality of life. It's not make believe, y'all. This is not this is no pretend. There's no pretend. This at any given moment, this can be us. Now, speaking as this can be us, we just got finished talking about a woman who left a man who, she went into the domestic violence shelter. And now you have a story about, and again, I tell you, no lie, when I get these stories, I don't put them together. They just end up segueing one into the other. Let me, before I go any further, let me just see if I got any comments. Okay. Tim says, can you imagine? We know he didn't have no tools. Okay, I did that. And Adele says, right. And she was writing that as I was speaking. So you have this woman in Alabama who they say allegedly shoots and kills her abusive husband, who was a pastor. So now this is all up in the news. So here's the thing. They have had a, let me rephrase that. He, Decarius Green, has had a history of abuse charges. Now, here's the thing. They don't know whether, and they do know, but they're claiming they don't know whether the old stories that have come out about him have been about this particular woman. They don't know whether, because there's several. He has several abuse charges going back a few years. And they're saying, we don't know whether she's the woman or not, because here's how they even put the story out, that he had a woman who killed him because there was domestic abuse. And later in the story, they say it was his wife. I'm saying, well, why you didn't say that from the beginning?
Mhm.
So he's been murdered, if you will. That's what they're investigating, and they're saying they're considering this to be self-defense because, again, he has had several allegations made against him. They say in one protective order, a woman alleged that he repeatedly assaulted her and struck her while she was pregnant. They don't specify whether the alleged victim in those cases is the same woman who's his wife in this particular case. They say that the church, when they got responses from the church, it was in the likes of, we are going to miss him, loved him very much, celebrating his homecoming and praying for his family and friends. That was the aura of these coming from out of the community and from his church. Now, they did not arrest her as of yet, but they are really doing this investigation to see if this was really self-defense or if this was just her murdering him. Now, here's what she has as support. They have the other allegations of him beating and abusing women, and she may be one of the women. So my question is, what did y'all do earlier? What'd you do earlier? I'm just going to we got a couple of minutes before you respond. I wanted to read some of the comments that was in the post. Somebody says, this is why I don't have a church home. Many pastors like this just don't fit the script. You can tell he was abusive. And someone said, well, how can you tell? You all you got is a picture. All righty. Someone else says, pastors don't abuse their wives. What's wrong with this devil? Somebody else says, he won't hit her again. Okay.
I guess not.
Nope. Someone else said, pastors are human and humans can do bad things. And I'm really, really wondering what that meant. Woman beating preacher, since he won't stop himself from laying hands on her, she found a way to stop him permanently. It's over now. Somebody says, a preaching monster. She should have just freed herself. Someone else says he probably was dating other women in the same church. The most of those who call themselves pastors are hypocrites. Pastors, you know better than anyone. Keep your hands off women. Someone says, not surprised here. Being a pastor today is a hustle position. They are still selling BS and people are still ignorantly believing it. We've got a couple of comments here. And Adele says, we're going to cut all the nonsense. What did he expect? Because if she didn't do that, it would have been her dead. Absolutely. And she's right. The church should be ashamed of themselves. Pastor Vinny, you've heard from the church. You've heard from the people. What say you?
When there's several stories about the same person, maybe one story, might not have all of the weight. But when this same thing continues to happen over and over and over again, and the focus is on the same person, come on. How many times can we, and we do. We take a blind eye. We say, oh no, there's no way that he could do that. And then when you find the wife beat up or bloodied or dead, You know, he got to the gun before she got to the gun. You know, all of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you know, I wish I had thought differently, or maybe we could have helped us. No, you know, somebody said, if that's the situation, leave, just go. I mean, you say go where? Well, anywhere. It's better than where you're at. If you're being abused, anywhere is better than where you're at right now.
Very true, but much easier said than done, unfortunately. You're absolutely right, Pastor Vinny, but much easier said than done. Shantice, you've heard from the church, you've heard from the people. What say you?
So you hear this, and your response as a church is, "Oh, we're gonna miss him. We're having a homegoing." What? Y'all thinking celebration? And you just heard what this woman had to end up doing. There's no, not even, well, how did I miss that? Well, yo, did you notice? Did you see anything? Y'all thinking celebration,
Right.
and this is the problem with the church.
Mm-hmm.
This is why you can't find a church home. You're why you don't have a church home. Because you're ignorant. Instead of you paying attention to the things that need to be paid attention to, listen, that same Bible that the pastors are supposed to follow to guide the parishioners they're guided through that same book as to how they are responsible for their leadership to an extent. So that means that most likely you saw some things that could have made you go, but because it wouldn't have ended in a celebration, you turned a blind eye. Everything has to do with a celebration. Everything has to do with being big. Everything has to do with being somebody standing up there and hyping you up. And it's just like, come on, because I can guarantee you, in one service, I could have gone there and saw something that didn't look right. Whether it was between him and her, or him and him, or her and him, or her and her, something was off. Something has to have been off. There's no way. People are not that crafty, especially nowadays. God is not allowing things to be concealed the way he did before. People are not as we just saw with the last story. People ain't got no plan. They just wake up, decide to do something, and then they just go on like they can do it. Something was shown. Someone said something. People in these churches talk. Someone said something that could have made you go, but because it would not have ended in a celebration. There's no way I could have heard this about anyone I currently go to church with, used to go to church with somebody. I'm thinking, oh, well, the homegoing service going, we're going to have to eat at the repast. What? This is why we are not rising as the church people, y'all. Because no one wants to hold anyone accountable. No one wants to do their job. We have a responsibility. It's sad. It's sad when the world has to tell us as the church people how things should go. You ain't see that. You ain't pay attention to that. It's sad. It's sad that they're the ones who have to guide us. They're the ones that have to put us on because we acting like we're just so oblivious. What? Oh, I thought he was just giving the word. It's not like you were so busy breathing. Because you're listening to him telling you what God said. So how are you not having your head buried in the book, but the whole time you supposed to be paying attention to what's going on, but you know nothing? I'm not buying it. And it's sad. And none of this is helping her out.
Wow. All right, Pastor KL, what say you?
Well, I have a couple of thoughts. One is, how are we our brother's keeper?
Shut up.
Our brother has to sit in the pews. You're the keeper of the first lady as well. You're the keeper of the pastor as well. Just because you have a title does not take you away from being the brother or the sister. You're still the brother and the sister. Has nothing to do with your title. The other thing I was thinking about too, I often would ask the question in the Baptist faith. I was like, well, how is it that the people can vote and put out the pastor? Well, in these instances, you need the people to do that. Which is sad, because God can call you to a people, but in the Baptist church, you can be put out. But if I know that you are beating someone or just disrespecting or doing stuff that's not godly, one, I can't sit under you, and two, the Bible says that if you have an ought or a problem or a situation with your brother, you go to it. And if they do not listen, you bring them amongst the people. Mm-hmm. So how are we following all these church antics and church scriptures? And we're only applying it when it best fits us.
Yep. Brian says, preach Pastor Shanti's. Oh my Lord, have mercy.
I wasn't ready for that one.
Me either. Me either. Oh my goodness, all of you have made some very
address for Brian.
Yeah. We haven't gotten one yet. I sent the investigator out. Pastor Vic. Good. Thank you so much for your comments and your thoughts. It really, leaves people with some food for thought. Thank you so much for your contribution into today's conversation. And we pray you have a blessed day.
You as well.
You too. Thank you.
Amen. Adele says that part right there, y'all better tell it like it is this morning. Amen. Amen and amen. Several things. Everything that Pastor Vinny said, Shanti said, Pastor KL said, was part of my thought. My thought was, okay, so you have these two showing up every week to church. You don't know something's wrong. You don't notice anything is wrong. We are a family. We are the body. So if the hand is off, the whole body is off. If your eye is off, your whole body is off. How do you have these churches and nobody says anything because they claim they don't notice? How is it that you don't notice? Like Shanti said, yeah, people talk. So, and we've had a conversation right here on Church Folk Day about this. People talk, things spread, and you have every right to go to your pastor with, listen, something seems a little off. Okay, go. What can you do for your first lady? What can you do for her? She's there. She needs you. There's no way in the world you should be ignoring the fact that she has needs. She's there to take care of you, but like Pastor KL said, you're there to take care of her as well. How is it that all of this is going on? Now check this out. Pay attention. They're wondering if the allegations that were made earlier of him abusing and hitting and beating the pregnant woman is the one that shot him and killed him, which is the wife. How all of this going on and nobody knows? Listen, let me tell you something. Like Shanti said, you ain't playing this off for so long. Where is the church? Again, we asked this question a few weeks ago. Church, where are you? Stand up. As the streets say, stand up. Well, what's the matter? We're going to sleep. So what are you going to church for? What are you learning? What are you doing? Of course, you get the people that say, well, this is why I don't go to church. You don't go to church because you don't want to go to church. Because here's the thing. I don't know about those other places, but here in New York City, there are 5 churches in one block. So if one church does not fit you, find another church and don't commit immediately until you find a Bible believing church. Bible believing church. Someone who is teaching from the pulpit the word of God. Now, if this person is all that abusive, who has been abusive for quite some time, something is off with the preaching. Oh, an unstable man is unstable in all his ways. Ain't no way in the world you gonna convince me that you in the background abusing your wife, possibly others, but you gonna be able to stand there and preach everything, the ceiling down. Oh, pastor preached. Oh, he told you, oh, we had church today. Stop. There's nowhere in the world, because something in his own spirit is off. Something's going on. There's a war going on inside, because if the Holy Spirit is there, it's pointing you to the left, and your spirit is pointing you to the right. There's a war. And let me tell you something, that war does not stay contained. Let me tell you something, the deacons, the ushers, anybody that's close to him knows what's going on. They knew he was unstable. So now, because you didn't do anything, because you didn't say anything, now you've got a woman who has been abused, possibly for murder charges or homicide or whatever they're going to charge her with. And then you have a leader who's dead, a man, a person who's dead. When someone, multiple people could have done something about this. And the most you can say, as Shanti says, is, oh, I'm going to miss him. And there's going to be, I'll sooner say nothing. The homecoming, homegoing services, we're going to celebrate. Celebrate what? Celebrate what? The fact that I missed the mark? The fact that we could have had a first lady dead instead of him? Because when you're pregnant, your body is extremely vulnerable. Vulnerable. If you so out of control that you're going to beat the woman who's carrying your baby, you're straight out of control. So I would sooner say nothing than to put that out. That was one of the posts that the congregation put out on Facebook. I'd sooner say nothing than to put that out there. There's nothing to celebrate right now. Nothing. Sorry to hear that all of this was going on. Maybe I'm new. I didn't get a chance to observe, or, I go to church, I sit down and I leave. Most Sabbath churches, it's a day. It's the day, because the day belongs to the Lord. The day belongs to the Lord. And most Sabbath churches, we spend the whole day together. So after we finish with services, we have a fellowship lunch. And this is one of the reasons why you spend the day, because there's an exchange that's going on. I have seen a whole lot of things go on at the lunch table that had we not been having lunch, I would never know. And I'm not talking about the congregation that I'm with now. I'm talking about period. I'm talking about when we visited people and had lunch. We visited other churches and have had lunch, and I'm looking around and I'm spotting things. I'm talking about where I used to be, you spot little things. Yeah. This is the time that God uses to just kind of lay out. Because see, that fellowship lunchtime is important. Because see, while we're in service, the first part of the service is what you all call Sunday school, we call Sabbath school. That's the learning part of the day. The divine worship is the time we spend worshiping and praising, right? So how do we kind of get to know one another in that arena? So I asked a couple of people that I know who worship on Sunday, just asking. I was like, what do you after? It was like, well, I know much. Does everybody get up out of there, or everybody kind of goes into their own? This one that might go to IHOP, and this that might go to Beefsteak Charlie's. This one might go, to Longhorn Steakhouse. This one might go, to the Soul Food Restaurant, and you kind of cluster up outside. But I'm going to tell you something. That fellowship time, I've always spent a lot of time with the congregation I belong to. And I can't tell you how crucial that would be for something like this. Because see, First Lady, here's what would be happening with the pastor's wife. Either she'd be constantly leaving so that she does not interact with the people so that nothing is exposed. He's constantly watching her. Ooh, let me tell you something. An abusive man, he thinks he's like not spotted, but I went through it very young in my life and I spotted. You watch the way they lurk from afar. You could be on one side of the room, they're on the other side of the room, and they're watching every little thing. Let me tell you why. Because they don't want to be exposed. And if they see you talking too long, they're interrupting. Oh, come on, babe, let's do this, let's do that. Babe, come on, here, the kids need you. They are what they consider to be very crafty in separating you from everybody. So see, this fellowship lunch, this fellowship time allows you to see a whole lot. What is the interaction between the two of them? Because it's going to show. Is she afraid of him? Is it that every time he says something, she jumps? She flinches? Is she able to sit down and mingle with everybody? Because let me tell you something about an abusive man. He's not going to allow you to parlay with people. Not gonna allow. He's not gonna allow it. It's not allowed because he's too afraid of being exposed. What are you talking about? What were you talking about? What did she say? What did you say? No, that's a fear that they have of being exposed. What is the interaction like during that time when they're around everybody? Do they always have to leave? Do they always have somewhere to go when there's fellowship time? Pay attention. So all of this, we go for church, we praise our, raise the president, put drops on in the plate, everybody gone. How are you getting to know one another? How? At what point do you get to know? Now, these churches with these 40,000 people and all of this, you're not going to have no banquet hall that's going to hold no 40,000. And this is why, no. Ain't no 40,000 church blessing God much. Because all they're doing is really doing some preaching. They're maybe doing some praise and worship, but there's more to going to church than just that. And unless you practice that, you're missing out on a lot. You're missing out on a lot. We talk about go out in this world and disciple. You need to disciple right there in the same church you belong to. How do you even get a chance to even get to know the needs of your fellow congregants? How? If when you finish service, everybody scatters. How does that even work? How does that work? And I have to tell you, I've asked. Because I'm just curious. I've asked. And can I be honest with you? I don't have most of my associates, because my mother's told me I ain't got friends. But most of the people I know, they do not worship on Sabbath. So I had quite a bit of asking that I could do. And listen, I'm not criticizing the day of the week you go on. I'm just talking about the practice and what we're talking about today. That's a whole separate conversation. I'm talking about how can we benefit one another? How can we benefit one another while we're congregating? And we cannot benefit one another much when we are just worshiping and praising and we separated. We can't. And I know a few pastors and their wives I know a few women pastors and their husbands, and I've asked around, and I'm like, well, when does the community or the connection get done? And then you see the wheels turning, or you hear the silence in the phone. This is a real question. This is a real bona fide question. How do we help those who we worship with? Now you're talking about death and possible jail. Now, this is what you're talking about, because there's nobody there. And when you speak to the people, all they talk about is the homegoing service. We're going to celebrate. There's no room for celebrating. What are we celebrating? There's no celebrating. Somebody just died. How are we celebrating? Listen, I ain't going with the, we don't mourn the death. We celebrate the life. And that's something completely different. Now, see, now I begin to wonder, if that was my pastor, I begin to wonder, could I even just rely on the things that you've told me? If you were home beating up your wife, if you were home terrorizing your wife, and I'm going to tell you something, they're terrorizing the kids as well. It does not stop with the spouse. It doesn't. They are like a drill sergeant, period. If she does not leave before it affects the kids, and that's what I did. God gave me enough to go before it affected Shanti's. I had to go because that's where my head was. Okay, so how far is this going to go? You're an idiot because you're staying around. You keep saying you're going to go. You're hoping he's going to change. You hope things are not going to be the same. You're hoping what you do make a difference. You're hoping what you say makes a difference. Stephanie, it's not making a difference. How long will it be before it begins to affect your child? Oh, hell no. That's exactly where I was. There is no other way to say that to you. That's where my head was. I was like, oh, hell no. No. You've done it to me. I cannot allow you to do it to my child. She was the only one at the time. Only child I had at the time. And I said, no, I'm not getting me out of here. I'm getting us out of here. How can we help our congregants? Are we intermingling enough? Because see, everybody's so busy. Everybody's rushing. Everybody got to do this and everybody got to do that. Take some time. Take some time to get to know those who labor amongst you, those who worship with you. Take the time to get to know that. You know what? Start with this weekend. Start with this weekend. Even for those, because I've seen people even in the Sabbath churches, when it's time for lunch, they go. They leave. No. Stay. Bring a sandwich. You don't want to eat anybody else's food? Fine. Bring a sandwich. Bring your own food. Bring a hamburger. I don't know what you do. Just do what you need to do so that you can bless God's people. Starting today, we shouldn't be hearing these stories anymore. Because who was there to help to intercept? Where was his boys? Because they knew. Because he just slipped up and said something. He's shown them something, because see, he feels free around them. Somebody he let on that he was abusing her rather, and possibly them, the children. So starting today, make up in your mind, you know what? I'm going to get to know the other people who I congregate with. I can't go out and disciple and I don't take care of my family. This is my family. It's my family. This is part of my body. And here's what I want you to think about. The scripture that talks about how the church is like the body, it says that the weaker part of the body is the most important and needs the most attention. The weakest part. So we always gravitate to the strong people, the people that can get us somewhere, the people that can help us and bolster us and, help us make moves and help us feel better. And they the prayer warriors and, they the good counselors. But what's happening with the weaker ones? What's happening with the weaker ones? What are we doing with the weaker members of the body? And can I be honest? The pastor and his wife were the weaker in the group, because if their regular occurrence was fighting, her defending herself, and finally to a point where she literally went and got a gun, or it was the house's gun, it was his gun, I don't care whose gun it was, she killed him. Then this ain't no unoccasional thing. This ain't been going on for 5 minutes. So we got to protect one another. Be more perceptive. Ask yourself right now, am I paying attention to those around me when I go to church? Am I in and I'm out? Is that what God wants me to do? What does God say? Let's talk about resilient living. What does God say? What does God say? Am I my brother's keeper? Yes. Now I got to put it into effect. Make this your first thing. Pick up that phone today and say hello. Pick up that phone today. How are you? Pick up that phone. Reach out and let somebody know I'm thinking of you. Tonight, Pastor Vinny, shake your head. 7:30 tonight? Are you on tonight? Yes. Okay. So, Facebook, because I never get this address right. Facebook. Pastor Vinny, type in the message, the body of the chat room, the address of the broadcast. You know, Pastor Vinny and Pastor Brenda are on. Please go to Vincent Stokes or Brenda Stokes on Facebook, and you will see there's a post that goes out when they are going to be on. So go. They have a wonderful, wonderful and blessed prayer from 7 to 8 o'clock on Tuesday night. So listen, tap in. You can put out your prayer requests. You can just listen, and pray along with them. Whichever way you want to do it, you can. But I really encourage you to be a part of their prayer broadcast, okay? Their prayer ministry. You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. As you go through your day, be sure to set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. It only will disturb your life. Please do not miss this opportunity to just take Jesus as your personal Savior right now. Please do not miss the opportunity to strengthen that relationship with the Lord right now, because later is not promised to any of us. I hope I'm joining you tonight at 7 to 8 o'clock with Pastor Vinny and Pastor Brenda on their prayer. Daytona 911. I need to write it down. But listen, just go to their Facebook page and they will definitely guide you there. All right. Until tomorrow, God spares. I love you.